Hey there, everyone. Welcome to lifecoachuniversity.com, where together we're doing a lot of good things in the world. And we have a lot of different pay it forward talks like this one I'm about to do with you today. Uh, we have Michelle Keville coming up tomorrow. That's July 28th at 6 a.m. Eastern. She's going to be talking to you all about how busy people get organized. I think that's a really good one. You don't want to miss that. We have a conference that's coming up. We do conferences once a month, and this Friday, July 29th, Utah Yerlich is hosting. I will be one of the keynote speakers for that, and we have a few others. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be talking about how you can turn your failures into resources. This is really an important thing to be able to do. And so I hope that you're all able to join and get a lot out of that. I am excited to talk on that subject, definitely. If you are inspired by this PIF Talk or any of our other talks or conferences, please pay it forward. That's what this is all about. It's all about paying it forward. Go out into the world and do something kind, do something thoughtful. And we would love to hear about that. So you can email your story to us at hello@lifecoachuniversity.com. One example is, we're for each one of these that we do, a tree will be planted in Australia, and I just think that is incredible. I love that. I love all the things that are going on with Life Coach University. We have more stuff coming up even. And so, we're not just helping with our words, people are inspired and they are doing other amazing things out in the world. And I appreciate that. I think it's wonderful. My name is Chris Weals. I'm a relationship coach, and I am talking today. Today is the part one of a three-part series I'm doing this month, next month, and the month after. And the acronym for the series is I-AM, and that stands for Intentions, Awareness, and Management. And so today I'm going to be talking to you all about intentions. So setting your intentions, right? This is something that I think is incredibly important for how we choose to show up for ourselves, how we choose to show up for others, what we actually want our lives to look like, and then intentionally creating the lives that we want, the experiences that we want to have, the results that we prefer. And so I firmly believe that we are creating our experiences all the time, whether we're aware of it or not. We are creating our experiences, and we're driving the results that we get with the choices that we make. And these choices include the beliefs that we hold on to, the words that we use when speaking to ourselves and to speaking to other people, and the actions that we are taking or not taking, right? And so these beliefs, words, and actions are what in turn create the experiences and the results that we have. And that includes how we feel, right? And so all of this is part of intention. So you're either doing this unintentionally or unconsciously or subconsciously, making these choices and decisions, and then you're most likely getting unintentional results. You're probably not having the life experiences that you truly desire, and you're not getting the results that you truly desire if you're not intentionally creating those. So are you for the most part making your decisions, making choices? Because we're doing this on a constant basis. From the time we wake up until the time we go to sleep, we are making decisions. We are making choices for what we're believing. Not necessarily all of the thoughts that we have. Our brains offer up thousands and thousands of thoughts every single day. So we might not have full control over all of those thoughts that pop into our heads, but we absolutely have control, and we do choose which of those thoughts to believe, right? And so are you making intentional choices with the beliefs that you hold on to, with the words that you choose when speaking to yourself and others, and with the actions that you're taking and not taking, and ultimately in like how you feel? And feeling is so important. I know some of us, maybe men in particular, don't put a lot of stock into feelings, but feelings play a crucial role in how we are creating the lives that we want or don't want. If we're feeling lousy, it's really difficult to take the actions that we need to take. And if we're feeling awesome, then it's so much easier. And so that ties into how we're talking to ourselves, what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about our lives and about the people in our lives, and what's possible and what's not possible. So I know a lot of people really want to badmouth positivity. They call it toxic even, but I think it's absolutely crucial to be positively optimistic. And I'm not saying see everything with rose-colored glasses and everything that happens, it's wonderful. No, and some people might think that's what I'm saying, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying be intentional with your beliefs, your words, your actions, and how you're feeling about your life, and feeling gratitude, and to create what you want, you have to be positive, you have to be grateful, you have to be optimistic. And so it's about seeing. So if something happens, because again, we don't control everything that happens in our lives, and so if something happens, we can either just judge it as horrible and negative and then let that thing defeat us, or we can think about, okay, well, how do I turn this into a positive for me, right? And this is actually something we'll be getting into more in our upcoming conference, Turning Failures into Resources, in a couple of days. But this is something that we all, have these choices, right? Like how are we viewing all of the events and the circumstances in our lives, the relationships, the people? What are we doing when event X happens? Is our response Z or is it Y? And then what outcome is that creating? And so it's important to not just be, I am so happy all the time like that. It's not like that, but viewing things in an optimistic way, with a clear, calm mind, and trying to reduce the negative feelings of anxiety and fear and worry, like trying to keep those from taking over and being what drive us, right? And it's okay to have these feelings. It's absolutely okay to be scared, to be angry, to feel grief. But when we resist those feelings, when we suppress them, that they grow out of control and take over. So feel those, but know that you can still do what you need to do, and embrace them, and then still think, okay, well, yeah, I might be feeling this, but I need to solve this issue. I still want this result. So what do I need to do? And think in positive terms. Be optimistic, be hopeful, and just work on creating what it is that you want, right? So what do you want for yourself, right? In creating or setting your intention starts with asking yourself some good questions. So ask yourself, like, what is it that I want in life? Right? What do I want my purpose to be? What do I want my mission to be? What am I all about? Right? What am I up to here? Right? Because we all have, X number of years to spend on this earth, and what you do affects other people, whether you want it to or not. If you wish you could just live in a little isolated bubble and not affect other people, I get that. Absolutely, I get that, but it's not really possible. And so how do you want to affect other people? What's your intention there, right? Like in what way do you want to show up for the world, add value, help others, right? So that's what purpose is about. That's your why. What's your main why for doing what you do? And then what do you want your life to look like? That's a question that my girlfriend actually asked me maybe 11 years ago now. And back then I had no idea. I was just, I had gone through school, I had a career, I had a house, and I was like just kind of going through the motions back then. And I wasn't overly full of joy or gratitude. And I was just kind of going along for the ride, and her asking me that question set me off on this course of becoming intentional. Really, that question just really resonated with me and stuck with me. I spent a good amount of time focusing on that question for myself. What do I want my life to look like? And wow, that just asking myself that question repeatedly and answering that question for myself and going through a process of getting this written out, that it's been life-changing for me. So within the past 7 years, I've made some amazing changes. I've moved, sold my house. I've traveled all over the world. I've moved several times, but the biggest move was moving from the desert to the beach, which I absolutely love. And then just like working on how I show up for myself. I was suffering from depression and anxiety. I had experienced some serious trauma as a teenager, and I hadn't fully processed that. So I got help with that, with processing all of these things. I got so much healthier mentally, emotionally. I became far more spiritual, traveling the world. Like my whole world just opened up because because of this question. What do you want your life to look like? And then taking that very seriously and starting to answer that for myself, and then actually setting goals and making plans and then making that happen. So my life is so much different compared to what it was 7 years ago. And if you are in a place now in your life where you're not happy about the results you're getting, the experiences you're having, know that you can make huge changes in a relatively short period of time, and know that if that amount of time seems like it's too long, know that it's worth it. This is the rest of your life. This isn't just a short-term fix. Like, what do you want your life to be like moving forward, right? And it doesn't, you don't have to worry about having to know it all for the rest of your life right now, but start to get an idea, and then start showing up that way to help yourself create that. So, right. So what do you want your life to look like? That's a huge question to ask and answer for yourself. What and who do you want to be? I'm going to go through a few questions here. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? And I think for the most part, we get the order of these wrong, right? So we think about what do we want to have, and we think, okay, well, to have that, I need to do this, and then I will, once I have it, I'm going to feel a certain way, right? Because that's the reason why we do anything. Really, ultimately, if you really think about this, the reason we do anything in life is because of the feeling we're going to get or think we're going to get from doing that thing or having that thing. So if it's financial independence. Well, that's about feeling secure or free or more relaxed, happier, whatever feeling we think we're going to get. Right. And so we think if we only had this, then I would feel this way. But I want you to know that to have that thing, you actually have to feel that way first. So when it comes to what you're being, doing, and having, make sure you do it in that order. What do I need to be? Who do I need to be? How do I need to be? Right. And that's about feeling a certain way. And that's also about projecting a certain way. So how do I need to show up in the world? Who do I need to be to do what I need to do to have what I want to have? Right. So think about that. What do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to have? And know that you don't need to have that big house, fancy car, vacation, financial independence to feel that feeling that you're ultimately going after. And in fact, you need to feel that first. You need to be that person first. And then do what you need to do to have that thing that you want to have. It doesn't mean don't go through the process and well, if I have the feeling, what's the point? No, you still like you're still going to have preferences, you're still going to have desires, but you don't have to wait to start feeling good now. You don't have to wait to become that version of yourself that has financial independence, that has a healthy relationship, that has the beach house, the vacations, all of that. Be that person now so that you can create the experiences that you want to have and the things that you want to have in your life right now. And you can break this whole be, do, and have, like, what do you want your life to look like? Break that down into different areas to start to make this really clear, to make it simpler so you can focus on one thing at a time. And you can break it down however you see fit, but I do have some recommendations for you. So the way I like to kind of break my life down, and you can look this up online. If you Google life coach wheel, then you can see the different spokes of the wheel, and you can start to rate them as far as how satisfied you are with each of these different areas of your life. A lot of coaches use this tool when working with their clients. And it's something that you can use for yourself. And I use it, and it helps me to fit these different areas into my purpose and my vision, and then create specific goals for specific areas. And so I don't get overwhelmed with the whole picture. I can focus on one or two things at a time, because again, this is for my whole life. It's not a short-term thing. So the way I like to break it down is like this: career or business, your finances or your wealth, lifestyle, and that for me that includes what I'm doing, where I live, my hobbies, who I'm hanging out with, my vacations, and all of that kind of stuff. So your lifestyle, and you can break all of these down into smaller pieces. Also, health, and I break that down into mental, physical, and spiritual. Growth, so how am I satisfied with how I'm growing? In what ways do I want to be growing? Right. So, and how do I want to be doing it? Reading books, taking classes, going to retreats, seminars, listening to coaches at Life Coach University, and then contribution and legacy is one category. So and this could bleed into other areas. This could be directly tied to your career, or like your lifestyle and your health and your growth can also tie to other things, right? But like, are you satisfied with the contribution and the legacy that you'll be leaving? Like, at the end of your life, what do you want to have contributed to the world? In what way do you want to add value and help others? What legacy do you want to have? What do you want people to be saying about you at your funeral, or after you're gone? How do you want to be remembered? Right. And then finally, For me, this is the most important one. It's relationships, right? And you can break this down too into your, like your marriage, and then your other relationships that you have with your kids, your parents, your siblings, your other family members, your friends, your community members, your neighbors, your co-workers, all of that, however you want to break that down. Now, in my coaching, I focus primarily on close personal relationships. So like marriages, right? Or, I'm not married, but I've been with my girlfriend for almost 12 years. So, I focus on those types of relationships, the romantic relationships, because I think relationships are the most important and wonderful part of being a human. And I think our close personal relationships are our most important relationships. So I want to go a little deeper into setting your intentions for your marriage or your committed relationship that you're in. And if you're not in one, and so this doesn't apply, this can apply to any relationship that you're in, including yourself. And hopefully you are including your relationship with yourself in this, because that's number one, right? We have to have a healthy relationship with ourselves. We have to feel whole and healthy, and we have to love ourselves and be able to forgive ourselves and be patient with ourselves and have compassion with ourselves, be generous with ourselves, all of that, before we can be that in a relationship, right? We don't want to come to a relationship not being whole already. We don't want to come to a relationship thinking about what we can get out of it and how that other person can help make us whole, because then it's not about love. It's about an exchange of services. Hey, I'll help you feel whole in this way if you agree to help me feel whole in this way. And now we have a codependent relationship, and that's not necessary, and it's not healthy. So if you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, start there, and then work on your next most important relationship, that with your significant other. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about here, right? So what do you want that relationship to actually look like? I think a lot of times we go into it, because, this person's cute, and then we date them, and then we think, their personality is good too. And then you just kind of unintentionally go through the motions, and the next thing you know, you're married and kids, and 20 years later, you're like, wow, what's going on here? We've just been going through the motions, and we aren't really thrilled about our relationship. We're not really that close and connected. Our communication is lacking. The intimacy is lacking. We're not having that much fun. We're not enjoying each other. We've grown apart. Now, basically, we're roommates and just, raising kids together. And then, we wind up splitting up because we didn't have intentions for our relationship. We didn't set those intentions and then honor them through daily practice and work. And it takes that, if we don't set intentions, then we're going to get what we get. And a lot of times what we get isn't all that pleasant. It's not ideal. It's not preferred. And it could wind up being a very incredibly painful experience. And so to avoid that, set intentions, be aware of what you actually want your relationship to be about. So why are you in this relationship? Right. And I don't want to tell you why you should be in your relationship. But like for me, my intention is to help make the life of my partner better. And then together we make the lives of our friends, our community, our family members. Together we intend to make other people's lives better, right? But like, I'm not in it for her to make my life better, because that's my responsibility, but I absolutely want to contribute to helping her life be better. And, of course, I want my life to be better too, in the relationship than not in the relationship. But that's not on anyone but me. Just like it's not my responsibility to make my partner's life better, but it's my opportunity. It's my privilege. It's my honor. That's something that I intend to do, and I get a lot out of that myself. So that's for me. Of course, if you wanted that to be what your relationship is about, then do it. But that I'm not telling you what your relationship should be about. I'm saying I think it's a good thing to know for yourself. And of course, you have these conversations with your partner as well, right? The two of you together can decide what the purpose of your relationship is, and then what the vision is. What do you want the relationship to look like, right? So what's it about? And then what does it look like on a day-to-day basis, on a monthly, week, or yearly basis? What are your goals? What are your plans? Write this stuff down. Answer these questions. Talk about them together. Get on the same page. Make it fun. Make it challenging. And a lot of times we're just kind of doing our own thing, and it's because it's nice to not be alone, right? We have somebody to share our responsibilities with, share our bills with, and but is that what you really want, or is that kind of a lonely existence? So what do you actually want the relationship to look like, right? How do you want to show up as a partner? And this is something that I focus on a lot with my one-on-one clients, is what's your intention for who you are as a partner to your significant other? And not just when things are going well, not just when they're behaving in a pleasant, delightful way that you find agreeable, but what about when they're having a bad day? What about when your partner is upset, emotional, angry, frustrated, depressed, anxious? What about when they're showing up in a way that you don't particularly enjoy? Who do you want to be then? Right? Do you want to be the person who's annoyed? Do you want to be the partner who gets really frustrated or angry with them? Or do you want to be compassionate? Do you want to be generous? Do you want to be a really great listener? Right? Do you want to help them? Right? So these are things to think about. Because if you don't think about it, then you might just have subconscious or unintentional reactions to them because you haven't decided in your mind in advance who you want to be, and then you're not practicing showing up that way because you don't even know how it is you want to show up. Right? So in relationship to your partner having a bad day, or even attacking you, which is just a cry for help, but how do you want to show up for that? Do you want to be defensive? Do you want to turn it into a fight? Or do you want to ignore them? Right? That happens a lot. Do you want to avoid them at all costs? Or do you want to show up for them? Do you want to be kind? Do you want to listen to what they have to say? And listen with the intent to just be compassionate or be helpful, right? But try not to take it personal, because everything is either an act of love or it's a cry for help. And so if you can remember that if they're not at their best, then why is that, right? Maybe get curious about it. Get get compassionate and say, how can I help? So yeah, maybe they said something I didn't like, but I don't have to take offense to that. Or if I did, like, I don't have to react poorly. I don't have to be harsh. I don't have to be mean. That, if I thought what they did was mean, I could pause. I can remember my intention. Oh, even if they're mean, I want to show up as love and kindness. And so let me do that. And still be truthful. It's not to say that you don't have feelings. And I think if we have feelings about something, we should communicate it. But how do you want to communicate it? What experience do you want your partner to have when you communicate that? Do you want to communicate it with a sharp tone and loud volume, or do you want to communicate it softly and kindly and say, hey, you know what? I understand you might be going through something that's difficult or challenging or painful or frustrating for you, and I absolutely want to do everything I can to help you. However, what you said, was hurtful, and I want to let you know that, I want to let you know that hurt. And it's a lot easier for me to help you if you're expressing your pain in a way that isn't at me. Right. And I know all of this is like far easier said than done. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but this is my practice. This is my intention for how I want to show up. I want to be generous. I want to be patient. I want to be peaceful. I want to be loving. I want to be kind. I want to be grateful for my partner. And I want to help her have a better life experience than she would have without me. Right. And so I do my best to remember that in my interactions with her. And no, I don't have this nailed down perfectly yet. I am, it's still a work in progress, but there is progress there. And that's the point, right? Like continued growth, continue to make that progress, continue to work on yourself and on your relationships with other people. Right. And so it's about intention, and then practicing that and not beating yourself up if you slip up, right? Because that can happen too, right? Like, oh, well, I'm not showing up the way I wanted to, that means I'm a jerk. And then we experience shame or guilt, and then we feel bad, and then we take that out on our partner, and then it just continues this cycle, right? So even if things have been really hard for a while, maybe you're in a relationship that has seen better days. Maybe you're not having the experience that you desire. Maybe your partner isn't either. It's not necessarily too late, right? And unfortunately, at times it might be too late for them, even if it's not for you. But that doesn't mean it's too late for you to change your ways and set new intentions and start practicing for your next one. And maybe if the relationship is over, you still handle it with intention as a loving, kind human, so that you can remain friends with this person, and still help them have a better life with you in it, in whatever capacity. But then it's helping set you up for the next relationship. But if your partner's not there, then awesome. Then like you can become intentional now, even if you haven't been all along. You can go through this process of asking yourself these questions. What's my purpose? What's the purpose in this relationship? What do I want the relationship to look like? And of course, you're going to apply this to all these other areas of life that I mentioned, and whatever specific areas you want to create for yourself, however you want to break down your life into manageable pieces, and set these intentions by asking yourself these questions, right? What's my purpose? What's my purpose for this? What's my vision for this? And then create goals based on the vision. And so it's all about being in alignment with your purpose, which is in alignment with your values. What do you care most about in this world? And be honest with yourself about this. It's not about what you're supposed to care about, what's supposed to matter to you, but what actually does, right? Base your purpose on that. Base your vision on your purpose. Base your goals on your vision. Base your plans on your goals. And then just base your everyday actions on your plans. And so it's all tied together. It's a process you go through, and you just keep working on it. It's going to be a never-ending thing, because this is how you intentionally create. You're creating anyway, just not necessarily intentionally. So you're not necessarily getting the results that you desire. You're not necessarily having the experiences that you want in life if you're not creating with intention. And that's what this talk has been all about, is creating that relationship, creating that life that you want with intentional decisions, choices about what and who we want to be, what we want to do, what we want to have, how we want to show up for ourselves and for others in this life. All right, it looks like I have a couple of questions here. So next time we're going to be getting into more of the awareness. Like at the beginning, I mentioned this is part 1 of a 3-part series I'm doing on intentions, awareness, and then management. So IM, you can remember that acronym. All right, so the first question is, I tend to go into why me? Why is this happening to me? I try to be kind and listen, but then why me? The why me gets me to feel angry. I get that one. That used to be my default question when anything happened that I didn't love. I used to get injured quite frequently because I was very active in board sports, snowboarding, skateboarding, now surfing, and then like different car accidents and things I've been in, and or work issues, challenges, relationship challenges. I would ask myself that question all the time. Why me? Right? But that kind of thinking, and again, that it's a choice to continue to ask yourself that, right? And it might come up and it might be difficult to not do that, but with practice, you can stop asking yourself that question. You can ask yourself other questions. So when that question comes up, why me? Because when you're saying why me, then you're making yourself a victim of the events in your life, the circumstances in your life. And then when you victimize yourself, it's really difficult to do anything about your situation. It's difficult to make positive changes when you're living in that why me space. You just keep perpetuating this victim mentality. And so again, it's really, you're taking your own power away. And it's going to be really difficult for you to do anything about what it is you don't necessarily love, like the circumstances, right? And so instead of why me, think, what can I do about this, right? And I think it's really important to not hate the circumstances. Don't hate the events, the circumstances, other people, yourself. Bless all of it. Embrace all of it as an opportunity for you to grow, change, do what you need to do to create the results or the experiences that you want. So if something happened, use it as feedback. Use it as a stepping stone. Use it as just that next step in the process. And I know this sounds kind of out there, and maybe at this point, maybe this sounds impossible to you, but I really think that it's important to be able to embrace everything, even while you're looking to change it. You don't have to accept it in a way that you don't do anything about it, but accept it as the reality that it is. This thing happened. And if I ask myself, why me? Why did this thing happen to me? That I'm going into that like saboteur mode, and this is something I've talked on in the past. You can go to YouTube and look up my my whole month of June PIF 365 talks here, and I talked a lot about the sabotaging thoughts that we have, and why me is one of those sabotaging thoughts where we're taking our own power away. So instead, think about like, what do I need to do? So get curious, like how can I, and explore it, right? Like what can I do to change this situation to have it be something that's preferred over this? Who can I get to help me? Who can I ask for help, right? So think about the who, right? Think about what, and how, right? But when you ask why me, then it's really difficult to move forward in a way that is intentional and then toward the results that you actually want. So yeah, that's a good one, because that used to be something that kept me stuck. And why me does that? Why me keeps you stuck. And so whenever that thought pops up, remember to be compassionate, patient with yourself. Catch that why me thought as the victim inside of you, that victim saboteur, and go, that's not the question I want to ask myself. That's not going to help me get the results I want. Do it with a smile, do it with love, and then start thinking, okay, what questions do I need to ask myself to get closer to the results and the experiences that I actually want to have. All right, next one. I've heard you say this often. It's either an act of love or cry for help. My question is, can my act of love for my partner be a cry for help for me? Sometimes my partner is very mean, especially if he is tired. I find that I shy away and stay quiet because of how mean he can be. Now I'm wondering if my quiet is actually my cry for help. I think that it can be, right? And so if it's coming from a place of fear, then it's, that's going to be a cry for help. And so, and think about your partner who you say is very mean, that meanness or anger or whatever that is, that's actually coming from fear. That the anger or even like, being mean to someone is because you feel like you're afraid of losing something, or that you don't have enough, you're not enough. And so when you're feeling like that, when you're thinking those thoughts, you act out, and it's not intentional. I doubt that your partner wants to be mean. At their core, they're probably a very loving human, just like we all are at our absolute core. It's just a matter of their level of understanding, their own intentions, like how conscious they are versus subconscious in their awareness of themselves and the intentions that they have. And you mentioned that he's especially that way when he's tired. That level of consciousness is down, that ability to self-manage and be aware and all of that diminishes. I'm like that when I'm tired. I have a harder time showing up intentionally. And then so your responses to him, so like, I think it's good for you to check in with yourself and think, are my responses coming from a place of fear, or are they coming from a place of love? Am I fearful and that's why I'm quiet, because I don't want to poke the bear, right? Or am I quiet because I'm okay and what they need is space, right? And I'm giving them what they need so that they can work through this thing on their own, and I'm okay. Like, I understand what's going on. I know it's not about me, and I have enough love for myself and love for them to give them that space that they need. And so I can't answer that for you. This is something you'll have to go through on your own and figure out, right? Where am I coming from? Right. And then, if it's fear, then what do I need? What do I need to do for myself to get from that place of fear to a place of love? What do I need for myself, from myself? And then ask yourself, what do you need from your partner, right? And then you how do you have that conversation with your partner, right? And this might come down to boundaries, or boundaries versus preferences or expectations, right? And so your boundaries are about you and your needs, your preferences, your desires in life, what you want your life to be like. And so, you might need to set some boundaries for yourself. And of course, communicate those boundaries with your partner, give them an opportunity, right? Let them know how you're going to be responding to certain things, right? And then it's up to you to honor the boundary. And this is something that I've only learned recently, within the last few months, is what boundaries are actually about. I thought, hey, it's up to my girlfriend, it's up to other people to honor my boundaries, but it's not at all. If we expect them to, we're going to be disappointed. And so, you might need to set boundaries around, if your partner's acting in a certain way that's hurtful for you, how do you respond to that? Plan in advance, and then let them know. So this is something that, hey, so the boundary is something like this. I'm not saying this is what your boundary is, but this could be a boundary. It's like, I don't engage with people who are yelling at me. I don't stay around them. I don't engage in those conversations if they're not going to stop yelling at me. That's a boundary that I have. And so if you're having a conversation with somebody and they're yelling at you, remember to, what's your intention? Do you want to be reactive and yell back, be defensive, or do you want to calmly and kindly and lovingly, remember to love for yourself and love for them, and respond intentionally and say, hey, I understand you're upset, and I want to be helpful. And when you yell at me, it's upsetting to me, and it's very difficult for me to be supportive and give you the love and help that I want to. So, I need for you to not yell at me. And if you don't stop, I'm going to have to remove myself from this conversation. Or, that's just an example of what it could be, right? And then if they don't stop, it's up to you to honor that boundary. It's up to you to do what you say you're going to do to honor that for yourself. I hope that was helpful. I'm going to move on to the next one. It says I am, right? That's the acronym I set up for this 3-part series: the intentions, awareness, and then management. So they say, I'm so happy that I got to attend the first class. I can't wait for the next 2 classes. Thank you so much. Well, thank you very much for attending and for the feedback. I really greatly appreciate you being here, and I appreciate that feedback as well. Thank you. And I'm glad that you're getting a lot from this. All right, final question here is, very interesting. Turning the question, why me, to what can I do about this already makes me feel different. Oh, that's awesome. My reaction is normally, when the F is this going to change, right? And then do you have other questions that I could ask myself instead? Right, so thank you for that feedback. Also, I'm glad that it already it started to make a difference in how you're feeling, and it absolutely does for me too, right? If I ever catch myself having that question again, then asking different questions, right? And then, when is this going to change? Well, it's not necessarily going to change on its own, right? And so how can I change this, right? So get curious, explore your options. So remember to think about who might be able to help you. So ask yourself that, right? Who can I get to help me with this? Who might be able to help? And if you can't think of somebody who might be able to help directly, well, who do I know who might know somebody else who can help me with this, right? Or what do I need to do, right, to change this situation? And so a lot of times it's, we need to maybe just not do anything about it, but just drop it from our list of tasks that we had, or like I said, get somebody else to help. Maybe you can barter, like, hey, I'll help you with this if you help me with that. Really, it's just about getting really curious about what you can do about this situation, right? You want to evaluate the situation. So what don't I like about this? Maybe there's part of it you do. What do I like? What needs to change? What doesn't? And then, like, if you don't know what you need to do, then work backward from there. Like, maybe start with, like, okay, this is what I actually want instead of this, but I don't know how to make this happen. So what do I know? And just go backwards. So like, I know that I could at least start with, a Google search on this topic, or I can, I could reach out to so-and-so. They have it this way that I want. Maybe, maybe I can ask them, or, I really trust this person, so let me reach out to them and see what they think about this, right? So just, it's really just about having an open mind, and coming from a calm inner space. So if we're really emotional about a subject, or if we're really emotional in general, and like really caught up in that, especially negative emotions, it's really difficult to think clearly, because we go into fight, flight, or freeze mode, and that's not the frame of mind we want to be in, to be creative and come up with solutions for things. Because when we're in fight, flight, or freeze, we're in reaction mode. So it's all about, like, I just need to quickly fight for my survival, or run away, or hide, because I'm faced with this immediate threat, right? And so your body does these amazing, wonderful things to help you survive. Your blood flows differently. Your brain starts producing adrenaline and other hormones to help you, run away quickly. But it does, or fight, you get, extra strength, or, you don't feel as much if you're engaged in a fight. But it's really hard to think clearly, and rationally and creatively when we're in that mode. So, the first thing you want to do is, like, how can I get myself into this calm inner space, so I can think about this clearly, so I can be creative, so I can be positively optimistic and focus on good solutions versus all the negative, like, oh, why me? This sucks. When the F is going to change. When we have all these questions, that's keeping us in that, like, survival brain mode. Those are all sabotaging thoughts. We want to think of, like, tap into the inner stage, right? And so maybe you need to reach out to somebody who can help you get there. Maybe you need to read the Bible, or a different book that can help you calm yourself. Listen to certain music, maybe a guided meditation, or just sit for a meditation, focus on your breath. There's things you can do, like, just rubbing your hands together with so much attention that you can feel all the, the textures and the temperature and all of that. Just really, it's all about being present. So bringing your mind to the present moment, and focused on the task at hand, and not worried about the past, not worried about the future, but, all right, here's what I'm dealing with, and it is what it is, and I embrace it. I love it as part of my journey, because it is, not because I want it to be the way it is, but it is the way it is, and I love it for the opportunity that it is bringing into my life. And now let's see what I can do about turning it into what I actually want to experience, with the results that I actually want to have. Right. So when you come from this calmer space, and you get way more creative, you can bring other people in who are also creative. You can bounce ideas off each other, have brainstorming sessions, and you could help each other out. You can hire a professional to help you out. Maybe you want to work with a therapist or a psychiatrist. Maybe you want to work with a coach, join a group program to help. But I think we need to look for help more often in life. A lot of times we separate ourselves, and we don't, maybe we don't want to spend the money, or we don't want to bother people, and so we stay in this little shell, and it's difficult to see what options are out there if you're keeping it all in. So look for help, come from a calm place, do everything you can to accept the reality, and not just accept it, but embrace it as a gift and an opportunity for you to create that higher version of yourself that you want to be, to create the experiences that you want to have, to create the results that you want to have. So whatever those are for yourself, view the current situation as a gift and an opportunity to get ever closer to what it is you actually want. So don't shame that, don't hate it, don't ask those questions, why me, why this, it sucks. Do your best to shift away from that and into love and acceptance, and then you'll see how much easier it is to be creative and come up with solutions that are going to help you get to what you actually want. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your questions. I really greatly appreciate that. Again, my name is Chris Weals, and I am a relationship coach. You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Chris, last name is Weals. And again, you are here through lifecoachuniversity.com and our Pay It Forward platform. It's been a great pleasure having you on with me today. I really do appreciate you showing up. I hope that you're inspired. I hope that you leave this with a lot of new value gained, and then you pay it forward by helping others and enjoy their lives more, have more pleasant experiences, and please remember again to check out our upcoming talks and conferences. We have our conference hosted by Utah Yerlich coming up on Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and I'll be on that conference as well as one of the keynote speakers, and we're going to be talking about how you can turn your failures into resources. And I'm going to be talking about a devastating personal failure that I experienced as a teenager, and how ultimately I was able to turn that, something very tragic, very devastating for me, how I was able to turn that into a gift and an opportunity in my own life. And also, you don't want to miss Michelle Kevil's talks tomorrow at 6 a.m. Eastern. She's going to be talking about how busy people can get organized, and that's something I think a lot of us can really benefit from. And as always, if you miss any of the live talks or conferences, go to the Life Coach University YouTube channel, and we have a ton of these out there on YouTube now. So you have access to all of these recorded sessions, and you have those at your disposal for free through YouTube, and then also check out our Ask a Coach through Life Coach University. So thank you all again for being here. It's always an honor and a pleasure, and I enjoy these talks very much, especially when you have questions for me. So please keep the questions coming. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.